Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of Soaring Through Chaos. And the reason we do this is because we are in the midst of unprecedented changes. Nobody knows what the next day will be like, honestly. Out there in California, where I spent the last 30 years of my life and where I have my home, there have been fires and the sky suddenly became red over the last 2 days. Unbelievable. Some people thought they woke up on Mars. And with all this commotion going on, the pandemic, potential loss of life, some people saying it doesn't even happen, there is no pandemic. And on the other side, we've got fires, we've got loss of jobs, lot of uncertainty. People are concerned. There's a lot of anxiety too. And in the midst of all this, we know that if we can find our ground, if we can find a way to chill, if we can find meaning in our life, then we will be able to evolve to the next level of our own evolution. And there are people who have done that. There are people who have created community. One of them I met I would say, 3, 4 years ago was Jayshree Chaudhary. Hi, Jayshree.
Hi, how are you, Shankar?
Good. And what was interesting was that I met her at an Awakened Circle, which is sitting in silence in Vadodara, Gujarat. But before I knew it, she was gone. The next day, I think she disappeared to Sri
Yes,
Lanka. And I, of course,
yes.
met her sister since then. And I was curious, who was this person who I met for a day, the tallest person in the room, and she just disappeared to Sri Lanka. So can you tell us about your life, Jayshree? What do you do and how do you end up going to different countries and doing all kinds of interesting things? And what do you do
Yeah,
and who you are really?
I'm just a simple human being as you are, and thank you so much, Shankar, for arranging this. I've learned many things. You are an inspiration to me, and it's true. The last time we met was just like a click, and I don't even remember that you noticed that. I had not even noticed you by that time also, and I had to go to Sri Lanka because I was serving the war victim kids and the widows there. There's an uncle who's doing philanthropy work. He's also Sri Lankan, but he lives in Dubai. So he comes and he does that. And so he had chose me from Anand Ashram. We follow an ashram in India, in Kerala. So my guru's ashram. So he's also Guru Bhai. So he met me there and he heard me singing bhajans and chanting and all that stuff. He said, why don't you come and do some work with my kids, the same pattern? So I said, yeah, no worries. So then I went there, and for 5 years, off and on, I came and I went and did some service there. So basically, we are running an organization called Astitva Foundation, which is in Baroda, and started in 2009. The reason was there are many organizations we saw where they were teaching and education and training was going on, but after the age of 18, empowering them or inclusion in the society was not happening. So I joined many organizations as volunteer because I am a student of commerce with marketing. So I thought I'll work, do a job, and then do some service whenever I have free time. So I used to go and volunteer in organizations in Baroda, and then I saw that they all are coming, sitting, learning, and going home. So it was like a daycare center. But after the age of 18, there was nothing basically happening. It was like negligible. I couldn't see any handicapped people when we go out in restaurants or petrol pumps or anywhere. You would not see any handicap in Baroda, especially other than beggars or by the station. So then I thought, let me try and ask these people if we can train and empower them and place them in companies and factories. And then, unfortunately, there were many organizations who said no. And because of their no, we had to start Astitva. So this is what I started in 2009, and till today, I think we must have placed more than 100 differently abled in Baroda, in companies and factories and petrol pumps and wherever possible. And people who can do some work, not the severe category, but the mild moderate categories. But all this was possible only pure grace of God and communication and love and hard work of the parents. So yeah, basically that's what we're doing.
So my question to you is, I'm grateful you're working with people with special needs. I have a younger brother who also has special needs, so I truly understand how valuable it is for them. And I'm grateful that my brother found a career in terms of working as a, in a marriage hall, in a community hall, and he's a supervisor. He does interesting things. Interestingly, he can speak 7 languages, so it's not like he doesn't know anything, but there are other challenges that he faces. So my question to you is, what attracted to you to work with special needs people, people with certain handicaps, when you were not even trained in that field? You were actually trained in business, right? Commerce and business. So there must have been some reason, something in your childhood, something in your life that made you go towards this particular cause. Was there any particular thing that changed you or drove you in that direction?
Yes, yes. It is a very interesting actually story. I'll have to go a little bit to my past. You know, when I was a kid, I was born in Gujarat, but brought up in Orissa. So my dad was working with the Rourkela steel plant, and working means he had his own business. And he was also a member of the Lions Club. And I was in my 8th standard. At that time, I remember we went with the school doing these little projects, you know, going and donating clothes, donating food. So the schools have these camps once a year. So they took us to the Missionaries of Charity in Orissa, in Rourkela. So we went there, and for me it was like fun, you know, going outing is always a fun. So that aspect of the differently abled, underprivileged, you know, all these things were not that serious at that time when I was 8 years old. So, sorry, in my 8th grade, in my 8th grade. So then when we went there, and we gave fruits and we gave clothes and everything, and then when we were planning to come back, all of a sudden there's a little boy. He looks into my eyes and he's smiling, and we are smiling happy, and he says, "Can I come with you?" I said, "Where?" He says, "To your place." I said, "This is an amazing place. I would love to stay in a place like this, you know, which has big halls and you can play around and all. And do you want to come with me?" I said, "Do you have any problem here so that I can talk to the management? They'll take care of you." "No, no, no, there's no problem. I just want to come and be with you." So I said, "Now I can't take you because I'm from the school. I'll ask my mom and then I'll get back to you." And he says, don't forget, you come and pick me up, okay? You ask your mom, I want to come and live with you people. I want to live like in a family and all. I didn't realize what was going on. I just thought, okay, he wants to come, I can take him, no worries. So I go home and I tell my mom that, you know, I met this cute little, and we are 3 sisters. We don't have a brother. So I said, okay, this is a cute little boy. Can we have them? Can we bring him home? And you know, all this stuff. My mom said, "Are you mad? You know, your father is the only person earning, and we are 5 dependent on him. So I think it's too much of a burden, and it's not possible." And my dad is a little society conscious person, even though he's from Africa, he's from Uganda. But still, when he came to India, he got Indianized, you know. So then he said it was not possible, she said. So I felt that very bad. And after that, we never went back to the Missionaries of Charity. And, you know, playing and all these things, it just went off my head. But when I slept in the night, you know, that flashback was coming, and I thought, Jesus, I can't even help one human being. How I felt very helpless in my life, that I'm so able and everything is fine in my house. We are not on the streets, and I just can't help one human being, like in whatever way possible. So that day I had just put a seed in my head, or it just came automatically, that one day I'll adopt one person, or differently able, or a needy person or child, and then I'll try to live a better life or show him whatever ways. You know, that was just a vague thing. And that's it. That always stayed in my head. And after that, when I finished my graduation, I used to do all voluntary work. I used to go with my dad and teach one in the slums, and go and do distribution of food and all these things with the differently able in villages, remote villages, the handicapped persons with disability. I used to participate in all the events and that my dad used to do with the Lions Club. So that thing was in my head, that when I am capable and independent, financially, economically, physically, socially, I'll adopt a child. That was my intention behind all this. But it didn't happen. So then at that time, then I came to Baroda, and then I thought, okay, I'll serve myself in all the different voluntary organizations. And then I went abroad for some time. And then there also I worked with all the organizations, getting all these experiences, learning new things. I always wanted to learn so many things. So I worked with the deaf and mute, I worked with the visually impaired, I served the domestic violence with women, I worked with the senior citizens. So doing all these things, I said, okay, then when I came back to India after a few years, then I said, that's it. Now when everyone has said no, I have to do something. So that's how Astitva started. And so I said, okay, let me take 5 differently abled of different fields and then train them and see if they can be placed in Baroda. And purely by God's grace and my this strong intention which was there in my head, it was possible. And those first 5 that we trained for 6 months were placed. One was independently selling something, one was placed in a petrol pump. Shell was the first petrol pump to take a student, and then that's how it started. So I asked only for one from God, and now God has given so many, I can't count them.
Wow.
So
wow.
that's how.
And that's such an amazing story. And each one of us has an amazing story into why we do what we do. And often we forget to mention that, or it's not evident, right? So this is amazing. And you made a remark which stuck in my head, which is, oh, we are in this society, and if you're society conscious, the society conscious word, the way it is used in India, means hierarchically conscious. And it's so sad, isn't it? That what is supposed to be conscious is actually unconscious, or is conscious of social hierarchies rather than and strata of society and how we are better than others and so on, instead of bringing us together inclusively. What I see in your work, Jayshree, is that you don't just work with people with special needs. That is primarily what you've taken up at Astitva, but you'll go and work with anyone as needed in different communities. Your children in your neighborhood and women in your neighborhood, anyone in your neighborhood. And that's such an inclusive way of doing things. What do you think about it? I mean, how did you get into inclusivity when everywhere around us we have exclusivity?
So the reason why I became so different in my family was because I was the rebellious kind, and my dad was very society conscious, even though he was brought up in Africa and he lived a very king-size life. But when he came to India, and as I use the word Indianized, so when we went to Orissa and we stayed in Rourkela, it was a metropolitan colony where we were staying, but still the mentality, like the home help, the people we call maids here, the home help, the driver, so they are not allowed to sit together on the same table and eat. They can't come in when the boss is in the house. They have to stand outside. The utensils in which we give water was different. So when I saw all these things in our life, I always used to fight with my dad on these issues. Why are they treated like this? We don't know but the blood is the same, the breathing. So I used to, I don't know from where all these things came into me, mostly maybe because of my mother. She was very spiritual and very lenient with life. So then, because of all these things, today I thank my father that because of his behavior and because of his attitude, because of what he used to see and show us, I broke this monotony thing, thinking a man-dominated country, the hierarchy system. And that's why when the boy said that I want to come home and I couldn't bring him, I could understand the reason of my father, why we couldn't bring him. I could understand the reason why I couldn't do that. But then I thought, when I can do it, I'll do it personally when it is possible. So it is very important and very deeply rooted in us, in our DNA, maybe from ages, nothing to do with the Britishes. I think it is even longer than Krishna's time. That the caste system and the way we see caste as the so-called educated people see caste as humanity is just a word that we need to explore. And now it has become a fashionable word. So I love to use myself. If somebody asks me, what are you doing? I say, I'm a humanist. I'm no religion, no caste, creed, religious system. I'm just a human, practicing humanism. That's it.
Yeah. And I see that in you and the friends you work with. It's really amazing to see that you're so focused on solving problems. And Astitva literally means, what does Astitva mean? Existence or reality?
Means identity. No, it is identity. According to me, it is like, Jayshri is a mother, she's a sister, she's a daughter, she's a friend, she's a girlfriend, she's a lover, she's a wife, she's a teacher. But when I remove all these labels, I still exist. When I remove all these labels, whatever is existing is Astitva.
Oh, is the identity devoid of all relational or social
labels?
And which
devoid of all labels.
Which is not easy to find.
Yeah. But once you start removing on the label side, you know that you still exist. And when you find that, it's
I
absolutely
mean, in
amazing.
Marathi, the word is asto. What are you like? And
Acha.
even in Espanol, in Spanish also, estas. Like, what are you?
Estas.
Estas. ¿Cómo
That.
estás?
That.
That which
Yes.
you
You
are,
are
and
that.
it's is the beingness. It's very interesting. And
Yes.
who came up with that name? It's a very nice name.
It just came, spontaneously, because I was sitting for the first project when I took 5 differently abled, and I thought, okay, I need to start train and see if it is possible to start a vocational training center and place this differently abled in Baroda. So when I started, I needed to have a name for an NGO or something. So then my friend said, okay, what name would you like to give? I said, first, I would like to have it with A, because it's easy to search on the internet. If anybody wants to find my name, it is easier to do. So A, then I don't know. I just say, okay, God, come on, universe, give me some name. What should I do with, what name should I come? And it just Astitva. That's it. It just came.
Wow.
And
And now,
since then, I'm listening this word so much.
yeah, now
Living this word, actually.
so my question to you is again, you came from a formal background, was not in counseling or special needs or any of those fields. But when you started working with these children and families, how were you able to train yourself or your staff into taking care of special needs people? I mean, because there are some formal requirements, and then there's the
Yes,
application,
yes,
right?
yes.
But,
We should also have.
and did you learn different
We
modalities of serving and learning and so on?
It's a very good question. Thank you so much. Well, after I finished my graduation, and I did it in marketing, and when I came back from abroad, I thought, okay, I want to start. So the organizations where I used to go and give voluntary services, I used to learn from them, and I had those faculties helping me and giving me materials. And at that time, when I wanted to do a course in special education, there were two criteria. One, either I have to be a teacher to do that course of special needs course, or I have to have a child who is differently able. Amazingly, I didn't have both. Neither I was a teacher to do it, and neither I had a special needs child. So I couldn't do the course online, what do you call it, distance course. And I didn't have the time and the energy to go and give 3 more years, like going and studying every day in the university. I couldn't do that. I couldn't afford, because I had to earn for my livelihood with my family and all that stuff. So it was not possible. So I said, okay, what is the best and the easiest way? So I had friends who were experts in this field, and they would give me materials and they would teach me, and we would go in their workshops and do many workshops with ADHD, autistic, mental retardation, Down syndrome, dyslexic, and low, what do you call it, learning difficulty. So all these type of people, I used to go and work in their organizations, serving them for free as a volunteer, so that I could learn from them. And even today, by God's grace, I have all these people in my friends list. Whenever I need to do any kind of a workshop, I just have to call them, and it is done. So that way, so that's how I learned. And I have attended many workshops, taken many workshops, and attended wherever it was possible to get those participation certificates, So that is needed for the documentation of an NGO, needed for the documentation as, if you say somewhere, what are you, the labels, the labels that I need around me to be recognized in the society. So all that has to be collected. And I said, after that, once you start working and people know the way you're working, and then they accept, your recognition is, then the certificates are no more needed. Because, when the love is added into it, when the patience is added, honest love and patience and selfless attitude, when all these things are added, I don't think anybody asks you, can I see your degree, or can I see your CV or resume?
That's true. That's very true. In fact, I don't have any degrees in psychology or neuroscience, but I've been studying for the last several years. And thanks to my advisors and friends at Stanford and Berkeley, I've done certificates and different things. But more than that, it's the knowing the right people, so I can call upon them or talk to them, or get their support. That's very important. So that reminds me, many of the NGOs or non-profits in India are, especially what I've noticed, and correct me if I'm wrong, are done by or started or founded by people who either have lots of money themselves or have connections to lots of money. either wealthy individuals or trusts or CSRs, corporate social responsibility divisions, and so on. Correct me if I'm wrong, you didn't have any of those, like you didn't have a godfather supporting this one
Oh,
organization,
no, no.
nor a particular CSR or a particular, or did you? How did you get
No,
started?
no.
How did you find the
Uh,
resources needed?
I can relate this to my mom. As I told you, my first spiritual guru is my mother. So, whenever we sit and do prayers was a very essential thing in our lives since our childhood. And I was a very why type question, why question person. So I would ask my mother everything. Why do we remove slippers? Why do we light the candle? Why do we light the diya? So I would ask, and if I'm not convinced with the answer, I wouldn't do it. So there we always hear a phrase, you remember in our lives, ke seva karenge to meva milega. This is a very typical thing, when you are serving somebody, you will always get something in return. So that always stuck in my head. So for me, seva was like selfless service, and meva was the love that I was taught in my childhood from my upbringing and my parents and families and friends. So my meva, the love and compassion and gratitude and all these things. And as you grow up in the society, which is a very predominant, wealthy society attitude, so there you think that no, seva is selfless service is okay, but then you have to be selfish to become selfless. So then you do seva and you have to get meva. So money now, meva is money now. It is converted from that to money, wealth, any kind of wealth. So then I have seen in front of me, and when I was serving in these organizations as a volunteer, I saw many starting with seva and converting into meva. Many companies who have their own businesses and they want to convert their meva into seva. So, they put in their own money into service.
And
So I
even the
saw all
government
these things.
encourages that, right? I mean, the
Yes.
mandatory CSR funds, and even in many countries now, corporate social responsibilities become the norm. So you got
Yes.
cash, you got extra, do something for so you make
It's an
money.
exchange. So in a way, it is also very healthy. There has to be some exchange because we are brought up in that human beings are interconnected, interdependent, but not at the cost of somebody else. Like right now, for example, if I'm running an NGO, my beneficiaries are special needs children, and the funding is done by the society or the community, the companies or the government. Then what happens that now the beneficiary is differently able, the funding is coming from somewhere, and I'm in between. So now, when I want to work with these people, I have to have a guideline of somebody who not even connected to them. So then there is a control thing coming in between, which disturbs my love angle and my giving angle. Then my selfless work has to become selfish because this third party is affecting this. So either I have to see his and keep him happy to do this work in happiness, or else I have to do this and then this one is not happy. So it is very hard, and really you need to have somebody on this side to understand you that yes, whatever you're doing here is correct and true and needed. So, but I think if your intentions are good, and you will find it, but it's a challenge. I wouldn't say it's a problem or it's wrong, but it is a challenge and you will find it if your intentions this side is correct. But many places, people don't have patience, or they want to go fast. I just want to make name and fame. I want to be everywhere over the social media. I want to become famous. So they manipulate with these two, and then this one is completely gone. It's only in the pictures, and it's only, I'll give something and take pictures and I'll show him that, look, this is where your money is used. So this manipulation starts, and then selflessness is gone and selfishness takes over. So then it is no seva, no meva. It's like that. So very vicious circle. That's why many NGOs are struggling today.
Yeah, right
because
now,
of this attitude.
yeah, especially with the lack of funding, it's a struggle.
Yes.
That brings me to how are you dealing with the pandemic and the changes in the whole society, financially and otherwise? How are you able to serve in these challenging times?
It'll sound very crazy also because of our upbringing in childhood. I bring prayers and I bring affirmations and positive attitude a lot because it was injected in our blood since childhood. And since 2010, I'm too much into this. Too much. Since I started my NGO and I've been working with such people, I'm knowing everything. So I'm also learning how to tap into correct energies, how to tap into all these things. So we just make a wish and we work towards it, and the universe conspires to make it come true. I know it might sound very vague, but it is possible and it is happening. So whenever we feel like, even now during the pandemic, the NGO is shut down because nobody could go and come and all. So the kids, children above 18, we deal with children above 18. So there are 15 who are coming right now because others are all placed in companies and factories. So the 15 adults who are there in their house and very poor from a below poverty line family, and we wanted to help them, and we were really intending that so all we can do is pray because everybody's in their house. You can't show anybody that I'm going to do something, so give me your money, and people don't have money because everybody's going through a financial crunch. So at this time, what can I do? How can I help? I came to the back helpless situation like I was when I was young at that time. That time I didn't know. So this time I'm praying and I'm telling people that, look, let us do something. Let us make a drive. Everybody's giving ration like rice and groceries and all. Nobody's giving fruits and vegetables to these rag pickers, slum areas, differently abled. Nobody's giving fruits and vegetables to eat. They are all eating rice and curry or rice and water and onion like that, simple basic things. And I just put this word and everybody said, yes, why not? I can give two potatoes, I can give a doodhi, I can give a tomato like this. I said, like this, if I start collecting, it will be too much. So why don't we just shell in something, and then we see how to do. So we approached IOCL and we said, I know this is a pandemic time and all the organizations, the big companies, their funds are gone to the Prime Minister's Relief Fund. So they cannot sponsor any project. So because IOCL, we are in Bajwa village and it is right near the IOCL area. So then they know us because we've been working for 10 years. So they've seen our activities and also they said, okay, we'll do something. We'll fund you a little bit. So why don't you? So they funded us a little bit of money, and all the friends and families who we just exposed this idea, they all shelled in whatever they could. And we gave around more than 500 families in Baroda for 2-3 days. We gave them fruits and vegetables and Ayurvedic immune boosting tablets in rag pickers and 4 slum areas in Baroda city. And we told people, if you want to continue this next time, we can do it again. So 2 times we did that. So people have money, but because they are scared, if I spend it and if I don't have it tomorrow, what to do? India is a very rich country in all ways, but everybody is insecure, because we don't know something big like this would hit anyone. So we didn't know that. So, but when it comes to Karuna, I call this the Karuna year. I don't call it the Corona year, because this has really brought out so much of compassion from people, so much of unwanted things they realized that they were doing in their lives, so much of unwanted thoughts they were thinking, buying they were doing, and spending they were doing, talking they were doing. So now everything all of a sudden got, squeezed, and they have really understood the essence of it. So I think the nature has just selected people randomly and said, okay, now you go and give vegetables. Now let Shankar go and do this in India, and let his wife go and do this in Bihar. So he's just picked up people who could work for him and just sent him out to work. And on the other side, he also prepared, ambassadors. And then he prepared people from the other side. Okay, you join in this project, you join there with the clothes, you join there with the food, you join there with medicine. It's all his drama. I call it the Rama drama.
Yeah, Dharma drama.
Yes.
And Karuna, compassion, it's amazing how it's working literally around the world in different ways. And when we start complaining about how bad the government is, or how bad this is, how bad that is, all we're doing is just going into this critical mode. But when we start doing small things, things are happening. And as I'm talking to people, I see that in many communities, different things are happening. And hopefully those who are glued to the computer and are still wondering what to do, it's easy to start small. We don't have to start big.
Yes.
And what I notice is that when the shutdown happened, the lockdown happened, you have to start all over again, start small again. Again,
I really think that it has given people to bring out the creativity more. There was so much of creativity in them, which they didn't get time because of the social media. They didn't get time because of the family. They didn't get time because they don't want to. So now when everything got clustered, so now what to do? So everything just bursted out. People are becoming creative, they're writing stories, they're drawing, painting, singing, music. Videos are posted in social media so that they can have an audience and have their likes and dislikes, whatever. But I think they all have brought out their creativity. And the best thing that happened with the special needs in Baroda that I know and people with whom I am associated is, now genuinely some parents who really thought their family and their children are like a burden to them, they were sending them to the dumping zones. Like so many special needs schools are like a dumping zone for parents. It's very sad to see that very few families really work hard after their child to reach to some level of normal lifestyle to live. So many families have come closer to their children. They have really understood that if I have my child for 24 hours, what I can do with the child. We gave them homeworks online. We did drawing classes online with the differently abled who all had Zoom and all these things, just to keep the child busy. And the parents had to sit and do it with them because the child cannot operate the computer independently. So especially the intellectually disabled ones, the physically handicapped, the deaf and mute, we are doing radio shows with them. We are talking about 21 days of gratitude. So now we are doing so many programs for the differently abled, and they all have adapted to this technology now and are expressing it out. Nobody has kept themselves closed and all, but it's very nice to see that there's so much of goodness coming out during this time also. We're very happy to see that.
Interesting. Yeah. In fact, I spoke with two people who are visually impaired, in fact, completely blind, and they are very engaged. They are totally engaged in doing different things. There's even one woman, Dr. Divya Bijur, I talked to, who is a physiotherapist, and even with her eyesight, she's now doing work even online and even physically with gloves on and all, because when one faculty is gone, the others become much more acute, and therefore she's able to do things that many people with full eyes cannot do. Interesting, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah,
So
you will not believe we were
able is really true.
Yes, and they are called special because we are doing a show with Radio Udan. It is a online radio station run by the visually impaired in India, and we are doing a 21-day self-love workshop with them every day evening from 7 to 8 on YouTube live. And there are so many things on Zoom that I didn't know how to do, and they made me a co-host. Usually I'm just a guest whenever I'm using. So I didn't know when they made me a co-host. I thought, now I have to learn how to do things, how to share the screen and all. So the visually impaired person in Radio Udan is showing me how to do the screen sharing and telling me, okay, you have to do this and you have to do that. And here I am thinking myself as an able person. I'm so disabled in using the technology. And, Jyoti, I was so happy that they have more sense, sharpness than us, at times. So every day is a learning. Every day is a learning.
I have a friend, in fact, I had gone to mentor people with visual impairment at my alma mater, IIT Bombay, and at Tata Institute of Social Sciences. It turned out they became my teachers. In other words, it became a learning environment because I started understanding how little I paid attention. So once I blindfolded myself and I could not find anything. I could not find my clothes, I could not find my books, nothing. And I realized, and the term that Kailash, the one I worked with mainly, he used to say, "Sir, dole futle ka?" Like, "Sir, what happened to your eyes? Did you lose your eyes?" And it really woke me up. It really woke me up. It really brought me back to my senses. How little I pay attention, And I can always put myself with labels, ADD and all that. It doesn't add up. So they actually bring us to certain ways of understanding things that we don't always understand. Or they have so much compassion sometimes that we feel that compassion too, and then it changes us. So I'm so glad you're working with all these special children, special adults. Do you have any suggestion for people out there who may not have access to organizations such as yours and either have special people in their life or feel that, they're not able to cope with the current situation. Do you have any ideas on how they can
Yeah.
find meaning?
I, what I have realized in the 11 years of my traveling and meeting people and in Indian lifestyle also is inclusion is a word which we are using, the term, but we are not living it or practicing it. So we always, when somebody comes to us and says that, oh, you're doing such a great job, you're working with the disabled people or person with disability, as it's not a great job actually. You are, as a bank, you are serving the people in the bank as a doctor is serving. So somebody has to serve this field also, and we are chosen to do that and we're happily doing it. In normal day life also, there are sometimes the keys are kept and we can't see the key. It is just kept right in front of me. So I become blind when I can't see the keys. Somebody is just calling you again and again and we can't hear. So we just become deaf, even if we are not actually. So we are always disabled at some point of our lives. We are playing that part of switching off, switching on, switching off. And in the differently able, there's one organ which is switched off. That's it. All the others are working. So they're managing in that way. So I would really appreciate and suggest people that they should involve their children with the so-called normal people as much as possible. Take them out, make them friends. If suppose I have a special needs daughter, or if I have a brother, then my friends, I should take my child and introduce them to my friends who are normal so-called and their family. If I'm going to a wedding, I'll take my child or my friend with me so that, they are exposed to this world and these people get exposed to their world as well. So only then they can understand the limitations and in which they're doing their best, and they can understand the freedom which they are using to do their best in it. So both of their worlds can meet only if we bring them both together. So if we can become a bridge between the so-called able and the disabled, it's all in the mind, but still, as long as all these things, realities exist, we have to take it practically. That take them and introduce them to the world, take them out as much as possible, leave them with your friends' children, sometimes bring your friends' children home and make them do some activities with your kids, your differently able friends. Try to involve and infuse each other as much as possible, especially the kids, if they have. Adults and all, they already have made their standards and they will do whatever they have to. But if there are kids and they are coming up, youths and teenagers, try to involve and include them. Only then we can have an inclusive society and an inclusive world, because everybody has got something to give. Everybody, because I cannot give unless and until I have it. But how do I have it first? By self-creating it. It is inside me. I just need a space to open it up. So they have so many things inside them. Visually impaired has so many things that he wants to share out. A deaf and mute has so many things to share out. But the other side people are not there to take it because of fear, status conscious, don't want to, don't know how to. So please just give them that space and just be a compassionate listener, accept things, let them open up and infuse together. So please, I think it is possible, but slowly you can if you really want to.
And I completely agree with you. Some of the things that I really learned was how much just paying attention can change. It's not just by hearing. The people who were completely had zero vision, the blind students that I worked with sometimes would know when I went into the bathroom or when I came out of the bathroom. Their sense of smell was strong. I mean, amazing things like that. They would know that the paint had worn off by touch. They would say, "Oh, this place is terrible." I was like, "The paint is worn off here, and there is garbage. They're not doing garbage cleaning properly." They would know by smell. They would know by texture.
We were with them for the last so many years, since childhood we had a little exposure to be with the differently able, but when I really started being with them, living with them in our organization, they really teach you what really selflessness means. They really teach you what patience means. They really teach you what compassion means. I mean, to the root of it, not even just like show you on top of it. You just shouted something and in just 2 minutes, it's gone. They don't even remember that there's something happened like that, especially the intellectually challenged. with it's like working with pure gods, you know, that is what. And after working with them, when you come to the normal people, you think, oh, this is too much to work now. So I was really blessed, really blessed to be with them. Now, after being with them for so many years, you can just identify when you're going in a train or a plane or anywhere, you know, yeah, this is a special child, and you want to be friends with them.
Wow,
The normal people, they'll be all sitting with their tags all around like the peacock's feather, you know. And this simple, differently able is just innocently, with open arms, just sitting there, giving you, unwantedly giving you all love and compassion that you need. And we people, foolishly so-called highly educated, we're not taking it, not using it, not wanting it. So that is it. But if you really want to experience true love, either spend a birthday with the special needs or differently able to celebrate your weddings with them, bring them in your parties, go and attend their functions, cultural functions, do sports with them, sports as well. They are ready to do anything. They're like a clean slate. So just go and spend time as much as possible. Just make any reason, a birthday or whatever, and spend time with the differently able, wherever they are, near your city or your place, in a country, wherever they are. You should spend some time. That is really quality time.
You're so right about that. There's one child who is autistic, cannot function as an adult. I call her a child, but she's age-wise, she's an adult. And this woman, I was teaching healing dances last year to about more than 50 people attended, 50 young adults and teenagers with various degrees of disability, you know, whether it's autism or it's Down syndrome and so on. So a few of them remember me, and this autistic girl, the way she tells her mother is suddenly she'll remember that she wants to dance. And then she'll go find, that's what the mother called me. I was in Mexico. She said she could go find, a WhatsApp.
Song.
And no, she won't find it. On WhatsApp, she'll go look and find my profile and say, where is he? Where is he? She'll pick my profile picture and say, get him here.
Wow.
So the mother called me and said, you need to come. And I came here, but of course, we are still socially distanced. But one of these days, I'll have to do some socially distanced classes.
I also especially want to thank you that we learned especially the dance movement thing with you. I always want to do this because music, dance, singing, all this was in our house since childhood. And I love to sing whenever it comes to me, you know. So, and then I was always looking if it is possible, because we did music therapy with an organization called A Place to Be in Virginia, Middleburg. They came here, we went there. So we learned music therapy from them. We did the the drama therapy with the National School of Drama. So they came here and they did a 1-month workshop with us. They stayed here, they taught 45 differently able participated, and we put up a show called Gileri Ramayan in the Saiji Nagar group. And that was an amazing lesson learning for me. So I had done music and drama. So I was, music and drama. I wanted to dance therapy, and I had heard about it and it was not happening. And I just, through my friend Shushma, I just heard that, you know, you were meeting and you were doing some dances as a therapy. And also I thought, okay, I want to learn. And so when I got an opportunity to meet you, and I asked you, you said yes. And I said, yes. Now I called all my friends whom I know they also want to learn something nice in their life. And I told them, sweet, this is a very new thing for you. Let's all meet, go and learn it. So we're very grateful for that.
Well, I'm
always
grateful.
We're doing.
Because of the pandemic and all the social distancing requirements, I was like, no, I'm not going to do anything this year. But what shifted was your insistence that at least let's do a socially distanced class. So we just 4 students, or 5 of us in a room with plenty of space. We were able to do that. So we were able to focus even deeper. And I'm not a therapist, but I've done a lot of 13 years of healing dances, learned from various dozens of teachers. So it was great to share the experiences, share the links, share the knowledge, understanding. And I'm very grateful that you are already sharing it where you live with children in the gardens. Yes. Like you didn't even wait for the weekend. By the weekend, you were already in it. which is
Yeah, we
amazing.
just, Sushma only told everybody about this. I didn't know. And then she said, okay, Jayshree is going to come and we'll do it. Because I'm like the party starter, so I'll start the party and then everybody continues. So then because of my height, I get always this unwanted attention since childhood, and I become very famous fast because I'm 6'2". So then they said, no. So they all in my society, they think I'm like, something different because I don't mix up with everybody, socialize like any normal other married woman does here in the society. So then we went on Sunday and there were around 10, 15 women and kids, and we have a big ground, the society has a big ground, and we took our big speaker and all that stuff. And they just danced and we had a little talk in between and we did some activities in between, and they loved it so much. They said, can we do it every day? I said, no. Once a week is good. Yeah, every day is no good. Then you want to value that stuff. So dip by dip, drop by drop, and then if you want interested, you can go and do whatever you wish. So they are calling me since yesterday. This Sunday, please. This Sunday you're fixing, please. I said, okay, we'll see. So
It's
maybe
amazing.
we'll start this as a Sunday thing. And you should come, please, to visit if you have time in the morning.
Try and,
6 to 7.
I will try and be
We're
there.
just dancing. We don't know anything. It's not a therapy or anything. We're not using any word like that. We're just dancing.
Yeah.
But in awareness, we just try to go within whatever we have learned from you. We are practicing there.
And bring in a few games that make us aware of what's going on. And
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, again, I'm very grateful. And simple things. There are a lot of healers out there online. There are people who are bringing in aspects of dance therapy or healing dances, drama therapy, and all that. Nobody can become an expert overnight, but we can learn from each other. We can learn the simple things that are easy to implement, whether it is in terms of our physical health or our mental health, or it is about building community. We cannot physically hug. Well, we can hug in other ways. We can just be there for each other. We can, hold each other, support each other in different ways. And that's amazing. It's the way things are happening. And I saw how much you were able to empower right in your neighborhood. And I'm like, I had not thought of that. And I'm so grateful that you insisted. So
sometimes it just happens spontaneously, and we also don't know, because there is a beautiful quote that always stays with me since my childhood, and I had heard it somewhere, I think maybe in my ashram only, that the world we live in is a school where experiences and observations offer us immense possibilities for self-improvement. May the world is our God or Guru. So it's always a learning, and we are always a student. There's no destination. It's just the journey that we keep on continuing. And I'm happy to have you all in my life, in my journey.
Yeah. And thank you for listening. If you have more questions for Jayshree, we'll make sure that we'll help you find her. We'll share all the contact, the organization's connections and URLs and social media connections. Same with mine. And if there's a lot of interest, we can always have another dialogue. But please stay in touch. And if there's some interesting things happening in your neighborhood, the road less taken, maybe some, again, community work building, please contact me. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear your stories. This year, the best thing that has happened to me, I've become a much better listener. Because at least when I'm interviewing, I talk less.
Wow, that's nice. And I also would really love to thank you. And you're doing an amazing work, and you've interviewed so many beautiful, amazing souls. I've seen some of it because I am also busy with some programs with the visually impaired. I told you, as with the radio station and the morning healing, holistic healing lifestyle, I'm doing that course as well. So, but whatever you're doing is a beautiful contribution to the world. And I'll always pray that this world becomes much more beautiful, better, healthier, happier place for everyone, for us to live.
Yeah, and it's very easy. I just want to share the wisdom I've seen around me, whether the way you bootstrapped your NGO to serve the special needs people, and then go towards inclusivity and insist on simple ways in which inclusivity can be brought in, or others who have worked, those who actually were blind, who empowered themselves and communities around them, and so on. There's so many ways in which we can serve each other. Some in the world of education, some in healthcare, and all these divisions are artificial anyway. It's how we can support each other. So thanks again, and please stay in touch.
Thank you so much.
Please stay in touch, everyone. See you soon.
Thank you. See you soon.